You hear me pretty good?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
All right. So what's going on, everybody? We're here with the 28th episode within the Fight Bros podcast. As always, I'm Marcus Burks, and this is my co-host today in Albert's absence, my good buddy Ethan Parker. So we ain't did any podcasts in a while. It's been about 3 months or so excited to get back into it. We got a lot to talk about. But let's get started with UFC fight night last night, Lewis versus Oleinik. Pretty good fights for just being an ESPN Plus card. Probably one of the better fight nights that we've seen during the quarantine. Let's start out with Weidman versus Akhmedov. I can't remember how to pronounce that name, but Omari Madoff from Dagestan. What did you think about Chris Weidman's unanimous decision win over Omari?
No, I think Weidman obviously had the plan to come in and get takedowns and grapple. I don't know if Akhmedov not a wrestler like a Khabib is, but I mean he seemed to grapple well. Weidman. It went 1-1, first two rounds, split each, and then Weidman dominated that third one.
Yeah.
No, it was a good fight. I don't know. Now he dropped back down to middleweight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Looked good. We'll see how it goes because Akhmedov was the number 11.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, see, Weidman, I believe that he came up to 205. Ended up having to fight Dominic Reyes, which
didn't work out.
Yeah, that didn't work out, and I didn't understand that because I'm like, you're making Dominic Reyes fight somebody who's just coming in, and then Dominic Reyes got a title shot after beating Chris Weidman, who hadn't been in that division. So I didn't really understand that right there, but yeah, I mean, great win for Chris Weidman to come back. I know he said that he was he was disappointed in his performance because I guess it wasn't as dominant as he wanted it to be, but he said at the end of the day that he's glad he got the win, and it definitely helps his confidence to get a win in that weight class. And he said he's coming for the contenders. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see, but
yeah. Well, I mean, you just have to wait and see. He's experienced. I mean, he's a great fighter. Hopefully, he can get up there and get a shot before time runs out.
So, who do you think should be next for him? What's some names?
Middleweight. No, I'm not really sure. I'd have to look at the rankings. I didn't do that. Should have. Oh,
no, dude. You're all good. I'm just going to throw out a name here I think would make a little sense, but he would definitely be taking a chance at his ranking, losing his ranking that he has right now. But Derek Bronson, coming off a nice win last weekend. I think that fight would make a lot of sense.
Well, what about Kelvin Gastelum? Kelvin's lost to it. He was just up there, title contention. He's lost 2 in a row,
and
at least. And then Weidman was unranked last night, so you think he'd probably be around 10. Maybe that would make sense.
Yeah, and Weidman already beat him once, but I mean, he's already seeded over you, so why not take that?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
But we'll get into the next one. Heavyweight main event, Lewis versus Oleinik. Derek Lewis ended up, I mean, he was in some trouble in that first round, but
Oleinik had him in a choke of some sort for like a minute and a half at the end of that round. And even in the post-fight, Lewis, it was tight. Yeah. I think he even made a joke about being the best blue belt in Texas.
Oh, yeah.
So that was fun.
And, I mean, that first round kind of – because I was going for Lewis. That first round kind of made me nervous a little bit. I was like, I don't know, because, as we've seen in the past, Derek Lewis kind of – if people can take those shots, he doesn't do well with those, let me just say, like, highly skilled people, especially like wrestlers. He usually doesn't do too good if they can prevail through those shots. So Oleinik had him in a little trouble in the first round, but he came out in that second round, and I knew when he tried that flying knee, I knew it was over then.
He looks good. The weight he's lost, and he said he's going to lose 15 or 20 more before he fights again. that athleticism he's gaining and agility. It's and if he's taking joking about being a blue belt, maybe he's taking a little bit more attention to the grappling. Maybe he can build something here. Yeah. He's always fun to watch.
Yeah, and I was thinking too. Yeah, Scrappy found his way down to the door. You usually don't do that, but yeah, I was thinking, who I would like to see him next, and I know they've been calling each other out for a while, and I think it makes a whole lot of sense. I think he should face Alistair Overeem next. Mm-hmm. I know Alistair Overeem has a fight coming up September 12th, I believe. I can't remember who it's against, but these two have been calling each other out. Mm-hmm. Alistair Overeem even called Derek Lewis last week, or a couple of days ago. Lewis, in his pre-fight media obligations, actually stated that Overeem had ducked him 3 times, that he'd been offered the fight, and Overeem called Lewis an easy payday on Twitter. So
yeah, Overeem's kind of on a run, isn't he? He's won a couple in a row.
Yeah, he said he wants to make one more title run, and then he's going to probably call it a career. But, if he can win on September 12th and then beat Lewis, hey, he's right there. So, but I would like to really see these two guys meet. I feel like, regardless of some of the tough losses Overeem's had, mm-hmm. he's still a very skillful heavyweight, and and
heavyweight's not very deep, especially after Saturday when DC and Stipe retire, if they do, and if they do, might get offered some money and come back or something.
Well, yeah, both of them are in stakes. I actually seen that, and we'll get to this also a little bit more in later show, but Javier Mendez, DC's coach, said that he wouldn't be surprised if DC won. He said that Dana wouldn't try to book John Jones DC3 at heavyweight, and he said that if they offered DC a lot of money, he could see DC postpone his retirement for it. He said DC likes money.
Money, and they hate each other. So there's a lot of motivation there. So.
Oh, yeah. But we'll definitely get into DC Stipe a little bit more in the later part of the show. But let's go ahead and get into Fight Island. We miss a lot of podcasts during those Fight Island fights. So I just want to kind of recap that. Let's talk about the idea of Fight Island. What did you kind of think about the idea and how the event went? And let's just talk about that for a little bit.
Hats off. I think Dana accomplished exactly what he wanted to. No, I think whenever he came out first and was saying, I'm acquiring an island, and mm-hmm. we all thought it was going to be some island right off the coast of California and not under a U.S. government, and he was going to be building a facility, and it was going to be, we come to find out it's in Abu Dhabi, and it's already a facility there, and, it makes sense. And I guess he just leased it out.
Yeah.
He didn't purchase it. But for the times and what he needed to get done to have fights, make some money, he nailed it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what – when they first started talking about this, I was like, oh, this is awesome. We're going to be – the octagon's going to be on the beach, and it's going to be, not inside. And I was a little disappointed when he got put inside, but I understand. You can't expect fighters to fight in 86 degrees outdoor with
and production wise, the lighting they need, the setup for cameras and stuff to have a good product to put on TV and make money, because that's what we're doing here. If he could make good audio and video, even though it would suck for the fighter, they'd probably still put it on the beach.
And so let's talk about this too. During a tough time for sports to be able to run successfully, I applaud Dana White for what he did. Literally in that bubble he had in Abu Dhabi, he had 0 cases of coronavirus. So I feel like we have to give a lot of credit to UFC and Dana White. He set the standard for sports through this tough time that we're having, and he is the reason. The NBA was already getting in a bubble, but they watched UFC do it successfully. And now all these other sports are doing it. And I kind of think we have to thank Dana White for that, for the reason why all these other sports. And that's the props I'm giving him. I'm not saying I like him on everything he does, but we'll give him props for that.
you got to give credit where credit's due. And it does seem like, I mean, not only the UFC, the NBA is doing great. The NHL, I know you're probably not a big hockey guy, but they have a bubble. They actually have 2 bubbles up in Canada, one further east and one for the west.
Okay.
They've had 0 cases. Of course, baseball kind of.
But they're not.
Their commissioner's a stooge.
Yeah.
Well, and really, it's been one team, right? It's been the Miami team. I think they might have been out having a time.
Yeah.
So they wasn't respecting the bubble. So
yeah,
I'm just hopeful for football. Camps are starting right now, so hopefully.
Yeah, a lot of people was opting out in football. This fall. Yeah, I don't know. College ain't looking too good. Nah. I can't remember what team it was yesterday, but they just canceled their entire season.
UConn.
Yeah, that's
and then also the MAC, the whole conference. Whole Power 5 conference. No, not Power 5, a whole FBS conference.
Now in Tech, too, now they had
Caleb Farley. Maybe their best player. First round corner, highest rated corner in the ACC last year.
And I seen, too, where Colton Beck, he decided just to go with track.
That's the right decision.
Yeah, and but I mean, still a lot of running backs there. So.
One they brought 2 or 3 in from transfers and this year.
So yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. Definitely, college and high school sports are definitely a little bit in jeopardy. So
yeah, so Dan has nailed it.
Yeah, and he stated on ESPN, he said sports don't work right now unless you're in the bubble, and I mean that is true.
Might be true.
They're putting out thousands of coronavirus tests, and I think. Fight week, what is it, in Abu Dhabi, they was having to each fighter had to take 5 or 6 tests over a span of a week. So, yeah, they're putting out a lot of tests to run these events. But let's get into some notable fights. I mean, there was a lot of good fights on here. And I guess we'll just kind of go from we don't have to talk about all of these, but just bottom to the top. We'll kind of start out with this one. This was one that I really enjoyed, Fabricio Verdum versus Alexander Guffington at his heavyweight debut. Fabricio Verdum, a lot of people kind of thought, he didn't have it no more. I mean, he looked pretty bad in his last performance. Who was it against? I don't remember. I don't remember. Yeah, he looked really bad. I mean, he looked like he was out of shape. But, I mean, this fight he came in, 6-pack. He looked in shape. And then, I mean, he submits Alexander Guffington. Quick. What was it? Yeah, middle of first round or something. It was fast, yeah. And I was like, wow, that's
really rained on Gustafson's parade. He was the strong favorite going into that. And Verdum kind of shocked everybody.
Yeah, and Verdum, he acted like he is wanting to test waters elsewhere, possibly in Bellator or ONE FC. He's a free agent.
Seems like a textbook Bellator guy.
Yeah. But, I mean, at the end of the day, too, when he does something like that to Guffington, he kind of is like, I want to see a little bit more in UFC. But I think he'll probably be gone. I mean, he's 43, I believe. So he probably wants to – and he's been in UFC for a long time. So he's probably wanting to test waters elsewhere to kind of ride out his career. But let's get into another one, Whitaker versus Teal. I mean, really,
that was a fun one.
Yeah,
that was fun. Technical fight.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those fights, almost like a grappling match, where it's so technical. It's to a casual or someone who maybe is new. It might be boring because there's so many feints, and kind of feeling each other out, playing chess, and it's not just bite down on your mouthpiece and swing. But man, it was fun to watch. 2 just technicians. And I guess Till blew his knee out. And in the first round, so it could have even been better. But it was a phenomenal fight.
Yeah, and Robert Whitaker now is taking a quick turnaround, and he's going to fight Jared Cannonier. Cannonier, yeah. That's a tough one because I mean Cannonier, he's a killer, man.
When you're at the top, they're all killers.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see Robert Whitaker against Cannonier because I know Whitaker kind of likes to brawl. That might be the wrong guy to brawl with, but definitely Teal's stock didn't go down. I mean, Teal is still one of the biggest names at middleweight. He's probably still one fight away from a title shot. I think he's kind of found his home right there at middleweight.
Yeah, he was always people always talk about how huge he was for welterweight and how hard that cut was, and I think he even missed weight once. So it makes sense. He could even later in his career go up 205 at some point if they needed depth there. So
yeah, and then let's see. Let's get into Diversia Benavidez.
Mhm.
I mean, I liked that one. I think this was a pay-per-view too. And
no, I watched this one because this was the
was this a fight?
flyweight championship.
Oh yeah,
Figueiredo.
Yeah.
And it was a rematch because Figueiredo missed weight the first time, even though he finished Benavidez quick in both of them.
And then they tried to act like in the first one there was a headbutt.
Yeah, which there was, but
yeah.
I mean the second one was even worse.
Yeah,
it was. He choked him out, and Benavidez was felt a little disrespected in the first one, so he wouldn't tap, and he ended up going to sleep.
Yeah.
But it's the game. It's probably your last title fight, maybe.
Yeah, I feel
leave
for
it out there.
Benavidez, especially. But Diversia is facing Cody Garbrandt now.
That's interesting.
Money fight, kind of.
Yeah, because there's not a whole lot of names in flyweight.
Yeah.
Really. Cejudo's the only reason that division's even gone or even still here.
Yeah.
He was talking about on the Rogan podcast when he was there that Dana told him it was gone. And that's when the King of Cringe started because he wanted to keep that division. Yeah. And he accomplished that, but now that he's retired, probably isn't much left for it. And it's also because Cody's never fought down. He's never fought flyweight before, correct?
No, he hasn't. No, he wanted to beat TJ and then do it and face Cejudo, but those plans didn't happen. So yeah, this will be his first time. I definitely think power will be on the advantage of Cody.
Yeah,
but I don't know, man.
Cody's got power. Yeah. I'm a big Cody fan.
Oh, I am too.
It just doesn't make sense to first time going. Well, TJ was the defending champion at 135, so that makes more. 135.
Yeah, I wanted to
makes more sense, but it's interesting. I don't foresee that division being around much longer.
Yeah, I just thought there was a lot of good matchups for Cody at bantamweight. I mean, you had Marlon Moraes. That could have happened. Sugar Sean O'Malley. They've been going back and forth on Twitter. Maybe O'Malley.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, he's on this next pay-per-view. So maybe he beats this guy that he's facing this week, and then gets like a top 10, top 15, and then he can fight Cody. So, I really thought – but, that fight can still be there. But you just don't want Cody's stock to go down. But, yeah.
Yeah, especially me because I'm a big Cody fan.
Yeah.
I've been a fan of him since he was on Fight Nights, and he had his friend Maddox, the cancer survivor. He was bringing out with him. That means a lot to me.
Oh, yeah.
So, I've always been a fan of Garbrandt. Even there, that tough stretch he had when he was kind of looking like a stooge for.
Yeah.
But, it happens. And if they do get rid of flyweight, bring Figueiredo up, they can fight Peter Yan. And that's a fight. A lot of, not UFC fans are going to be like throwing, excited about it, but that's a brawl.
Yeah. So let's talk about, you mentioned Peter Yan. Peter Yan versus Jose Aldo was one of those fights on Fight Island too. Everybody knows who Peter Yan is now. It's not a secret anymore. He's pretty dominant, and he's the champ now.
Yeah.
So.
No, Aldo shouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
That was the deal where Cejudo wanted to fight Aldo because he wanted to beat all the legends.
Mm-hmm.
And then something happened. That fight didn't work out. So, I guess the UFC promised Aldo a title fight. Yeah. So they still gave it. And then he paid the price for it.
Yes, I guess now we're going to see Peter Yan versus Aljo.
Sterling. Yeah. Sterling's a stud. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I feel like he's been working his way up for a couple of years now, so that'll be exciting.
Kind of disrespected.
Yeah.
If his maybe been a bigger division or, maybe he would have got a title shot sooner. But
yeah, a lot of people felt like they skipped him when they gave that title shot to Marlon Moraes to Cejudo.
Well, the Marlon had that
knockout
brutal knee or whatever it was, kick.
And see, I feel for Marlon too because he just beat Aldo. Aldo got the title shot after he lost to Marlon. And
then, but wasn't there a controversial decision there?
Yeah, I mean, it was a little controversial. But then at the same time, Marlon KO'd Aljo.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of a tough spot. But Marlon, they'll probably put him against.
Marlon's had a title shot since he KO'd because he came out and really beat on Cejudo in the first round, and then Cejudo came back and kind of bounced back and dominated the rest of that fight.
Yeah. So Marlon would probably be booked against the top 5 somebody somewhere soon and be able to get it back in. But let's talk to Volkanovski versus Holloway. We almost at that 30 minutes.
We got 10 minutes.
Okay.
9.5 minutes.
Okay. So let's talk Volkanovski versus Holloway. I don't want to see that third fight anymore,
Honestly, I didn't watch the first 2. I watched the highlights, but both of them have been so tight. I think you almost have to. Just great fights. It's not like it's not entertaining. And they're so close. We just need, you might just do that forever.
Yeah, because I don't know. I thought Holloway won the second one.
Mm-hmm.
I really thought he was robbed. Like, I was shocked.
That seems like the general consensus on that.
Yeah, I was shocked when they announced the decision. And I think the Volkanovski, you look at him at the end of the fight, I don't feel like in his facial expression he thought he won. Mm-hmm. He didn't act surprised or anything. He went with it after the fight, obviously.
Yeah.
Like most people would. But I don't know, man. They are good fights, but it's just getting kind of stale.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see.
Yeah. Who else? I guess you have people there at
Cejudo
145 and
Cejudo's calling out Volkanovski.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, and he wants to be the first 3 division. And I say, hey,
and
man.
Who is the Russian guy? Zabit.
Yeah.
He's right there too, right?
And he's scheduled to face, what's the guy's name? The guy that did that crazy elbow. Yair Rodriguez.
Yeah. So you got both of those guys. Both of those guys could arguably get a title shot if that.
Oh, yeah.
If you had a clear-cut winner between Volkanovski and Holloway, that one of those 2 guys, the winner of that fight's probably getting the title shot. Yeah. Who knows now?
So let's talk to kind of the last big fight to happen: Usman versus Masvidal.
Mm-hmm.
Masvidal took this fight on 7 days' notice? In true Masvidal fashion,
and didn't get finished.
Yeah, he didn't get finished. He did pretty good in that first round.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, you could tell in those later rounds the gas tank. You can tell he took this fight on 7 days' notice.
Even though he's an elite guy, it's an impossible ask to fly halfway around the world.
Yeah.
On that short of notice and fight, a truly dominant champion like Usman.
Yeah. And a lot of people got frustrated with the foot stomps and stuff. But hey man, Usman, he knows what he's doing.
How more dominant can you be than just holding someone down?
Yeah.
I'm going to hold you down and not let you do anything.
And you're talking about holding down one of the most vicious people maybe in the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, you should see just his facial emotion. Like, I'm a big Diaz fan, but when he kicked Diaz in the face, you could see just like the viciousness in his face when he landed that kick and stuff.
Maybe with a full camp, it's different. Yeah. But I'd want to see it.
Yeah, so we know we're going to see Usman versus
Gilbert Burns.
Yeah, that's got to be next. So what's next for Masvidal? There's still so many options.
Yeah, money fight, I guess. Conor, whoever.
Yeah, you got the Conor fight. You got Nate Diaz rematch.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of UFC fans that I've noticed are kind of split on that. Obviously, I want to see it. I know that the first 2 rounds went to Masvidal. Pretty. What's the word for it? Pretty. Can't think of the word for it this morning.
But Diaz's are. I know you're a huge Diaz guy.
Yeah,
they're kind of old.
Yeah.
Well, not old, but they're from an old UFC than an old era. And
it's different now.
Even though they could easily compete now, it doesn't seem like they really want to.
Yeah, and I completely understand that. Diaz, a lot of people criticize him because they feel like he doesn't try to change his fighting style, which you don't have to change it, but, he is stubborn into terms that he doesn't want to kind of adjust. I feel like he's not one of those guys that watches film or anything like that. But, he's still one of the fun ones to see fights there. And Dana said that that we would be seeing Diaz back into 2020 or early 2021. He said that Nate Diaz will be fighting again. So I think the Masvidal fight makes sense, but there's other fights that make sense just because I just feel like a fight that goes unfinished like that, I know Masvidal on the scorecard was the clear-cut winner, but I mean, like, you gotta finish it right. Dana stated that he doesn't want that, but I mean, it'll be interesting to see Masvidal. He's still the guy, and and we'll go ahead and talk about this too. He's on the cover of UFC 4. I mean, completely earned, man. And did you see the trailer for that game?
Yeah, I watched it actually this morning. I own UFC 2. I played the beta for UFC 3.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel different enough from 2 for me to get it.
Yeah.
I don't foresee me getting this one. I haven't played UFC 2 in years. So, but, I mean, it looks like an enjoyable game if you like the UFC games. I did see that it's the last game between EA and the UFC. Yeah. So it might be the last one ever if that matters to you, or maybe 2K picks it up or something.
Yeah. Now, when I was watching this trailer, as soon as they put Masvidal in the backyard and I mean, they kind of got him in like this dog cage thing, and I'm like, man, that's crazy. And you got Kimbo sitting there officiating it and stuff, and I'm like, this is awesome. We're getting into a little bit of Def Jam fighting games over here.
Yeah, so it's the last game EA has a contract for, and I thought was interesting that they're making it only for the current generation of consoles, because this fall, I guess the PS5 and the Xbox X is coming out.
Yeah.
Both of those things together, they're not making it for the next gen consoles, kind of tells me EA's not looking to continue making these games. So unless a 2K or somebody else comes in to make it, it's probably the last one.
Yeah. And see, when that trailer hit too, and then you got Israel, he's over here in like this kind of dungeon, this martial arts dungeon thing. And I was like, that's cool. But like this, of what I hear, my career on this is completely different. Mm-hmm. It is, you're going to have like a coach. You're going to have like a relationship with your coach. You're going to be able to make decisions and stuff. You can bring people in your camp. So, like, you can bring in it showed on there Tyron Woodley you brought into your camp if you wanted to work on, like, an overhand. And then you can bring in, like, Colby. And it says that you can befriend these people to be, like, sparring partners and stuff. But if you accidentally knock them out in the sparring sessions, that you create enemies.
Start a rival.
Yep. And you can build up the fight by releasing, like, the knockout footage of your sparring and stuff. Yeah. And I really think that's cool because it's really getting – they said you can do press conferences now. So it's getting really, like – that's what I wanted last year. I wanted, like, the whole feel of, like, the fight week. Mm-hmm. And so I really am excited about this game. I'm excited to try it out next week. And I'm not excited about getting it on Friday, going to pick it up, and then letting it download probably for a day and a half. But, hey.
That's why you got to buy them digital.
Got to do what you got to do. Yeah, well, see, I'm still one of those GameStop kind of guys, so I like to get my money back. Not back, but like.
You go digital, and then I think it downloads it before.
Yeah, it probably
and
does.
And then you can play it the second it releases.
Okay, yeah.
At least I think Red Dead Redemption 2 was like that. But, of course, it has like a 100 gig download or something stupid.
Yeah. And see, where I'm a big Diaz fan, did you notice that he did not even make the top 50?
Mm-mm.
I mean, crazy, man.
So is he not in the game at all?
Yeah, he's in the game because he's been tweeting stuff against the game.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's obvious. They released, like, the top 50 fighters. I mean, I can't believe that he's not even top 50. I mean, they put in some money guys in there because I'm like, I want to see if Anthony Pettis was in the top 50 because if he's in the top 50 and Diaz isn't, I mean, Diaz beat him by unanimous decision. So, I don't know, but
this is probably a good time to take a break. You got about a minute, so.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, just going to check the camera. All right, we're still going good.
All right. Now, do you edit that out or do you leave it?
Nah,
just leave it.
It's all good. Hey, once we get some more high quality gear and stuff, we'll edit that out. But yeah, our camera sometimes it'll cut off, man. Like in the middle of the podcast.
No, I guess like if it cuts off, maybe have to check it again here in a minute.
Yeah, I'll check it. I'll check it again. But yeah, that's why I was trying to keep it under 50 for this one. Yeah, now, I did fix some settings on the camera to where it's supposed to stay on. Mm-hmm. So hopefully that fixed the problem. But just being safe on it because I don't want us to re-record anything. But yeah, so definitely looking forward to UFC 4 and let's get into our next big topic. I just feel like we're cranking out so many money fights this summer, but we got Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr.
Yeah.
We had been anticipating an announcement for a Mike Tyson fight for a couple of months now. He announced that he was coming back. We seen how in shape he was. We seen all these videos of him killing the pads. Just killing the mitts. And finally we're here, Roy Jones Jr. So, what's kind of your thoughts on this?
I'm going to watch. I'm not, I guess I'm excited because I'm going to watch, but I'm not, this isn't the best thing that's happened this year. I would have been perfectly happy not having it happen, but if they're going to fight, I'm going to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I was talking to you about. I was asking you if you wanted to get it because I was like, $50, so not too bad. We'll get in there and split it. But yeah, now they're talking. This is the downside. Now the commission that is putting on this fight, they're saying 8 rounds. That's pretty a lot of rounds. Floyd Mayweather went. His exhibition match was 3 rounds with that.
With the kickboxer.
With the kickboxer.
From Japan, maybe?
Yeah.
Or Thailand, something.
Yeah. He was from one championship. He's a fighter.
Yeah.
So, we're talking 8 rounds, but he's saying that they're wearing headgear and it's a sparring session. Mm-hmm. And he said there will be no knockouts. But Mike Tyson has stated that that's the only way he knows how to fight.
Yeah. And wait, so they're wearing headgear in this?
That's rumors. I don't know. I feel like Tyson wouldn't do it, and I feel like Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr. just fought last year. Yeah. He didn't wear headgear. I don't think Roy Jones Jr. has been looking too good on the mitts, man. That does mean some stuff. Think about it. Chuck Liddell, when they released those videos of him hitting the mitts for Tito Ortiz, dude, you could tell.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, he's sandbagging it on the videos. No, that was legit. You could tell in the fight. But, yeah, Roy Jones Jr., he's just not looking too good on the mitts, but I guess we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I have no expectations.
Yeah,
it could be awful. It could be great. We'll see how it goes.
The thing about me though is, do you remember that Tyson video that got released of him talking about he was crying and he was talking about his ego that he misses it and it was crazy. I'll have to show you the video. It was a video of him. He started going down in tears on his podcast talking about how much he misses his ego. And that if that killer comes out again,
it scares him, right? Yeah, I've heard him talk about that, how he didn't even want to work out.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want that to come out, because it scared him.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know, with him, I think, and with a lot of people, it just releases stress, just that working out and stuff, once you get it. So, could be a good thing he's back into it, but I guess we'll see, man. I'm expecting a knockout because, I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah. But also we got on here without a YouTuber on it, so we got Jake Paul versus Nate Robinson.
Yeah. I'm more interested in this fight because obviously Jake Paul has boxed. He actually did well for considering what he is. But Nate Robinson's a true elite athlete. He's just going to be faster. He's going to be harder to hit. I have no idea what Nate Robinson's training's like.
Not looking too good on the pads.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But,
he's
going to be so much faster.
Yeah, he's in shape. He's ripped up and stuff. I don't know how this – I just didn't like the way Nate Robinson was hitting the pads, the way his jab – he was throwing his jabs and stuff. I don't know. Jake Paul, I've seen him fight, and we seen him fight another YouTuber and stuff. But he actually, you can see where he's been training in the boxing background.
If Jake Paul's not in prison.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. It seems like the fight's up in the air, kind of. Nate Robinson's still been posting training camp videos and promoting it. But, that latest incident with Jake Paul, the police raided his house, found, what did they find?
I'm not sure. Guns. They were saying illegal weapons, which he lives in California, so there's a lot of those. stuff that in most other states isn't illegal. So we'll see.
Yeah, but definitely.
And then, I mean, he's just both of the Paul brothers just kind of, they are interesting, controversial characters.
Yeah.
They like to, I don't know if it's intentional or they're just young people that have made a lot of money, so they don't know how to handle themselves yet. But
that's probably what it is.
Yeah. I mean, showing dead bodies on YouTube and throwing parties and coronavirus and, going to protest just for the clout and not actually. Yeah. So there's a lot of not to like there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely rooting for Nate Robinson, man. Yeah. He's been one of my favorite players since he played for the Knicks. I love Nate.
Super athlete, right?
Yeah.
He's a smaller guy that could jump out of the gym. So his athleticism, I'm thinking, is going to make up for a lot of the technique.
Yeah.
Shortfalls.
That's what I'm hoping. Like he said, he said that he was a standout football player in high school, standout football player in college. He played football at Washington State and basketball.
Oh, so big time.
Yeah, so he was standouts in both. He said he could have went to the NFL, which he tried to go to the NFL. He got a tryout for Seattle Seahawks and Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll said that, Nate, he can definitely see Nate playing professional football, but he said that, Nate's just he's a pretty good amount of steps away from making the Seattle Seahawks.
Now, how tall is he? Because I'm thinking he's short, but whenever you're in the NBA and everybody's 6'8" or taller.
He's like 5'10", 5'11".
Oh, so he is short.
Yeah. Which, Jake Paul is probably like 6'2" or something.
Like, you'll be like, you'll watch an NBA game and be like, this guy's short and he's 6'3".
Yeah. Like, Curry,
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah. But, September 12th, definitely check that out. That should be pretty entertaining. Not going to say it's going to be the best fights, but, but it should be pretty entertaining either way.
It'll be fun.
Yeah. So another big topic running through the news this week, Corey Anderson. This came all of a sudden. Corey Anderson released from his UFC contract, headed over to Bellator.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've seen it on Instagram. I didn't know this, but Corey Anderson, he said that he was out with his dog one day doing something.
He was on his hunting property, hiking. So I'm a big Corey Anderson because I also deer hunt. So, anytime you can get somebody, with some notoriety that does some of the same stuff you do, especially like that. But he's always been unhappy with the UFC, saying he's only beaten until that most recent loss. Just beating top 10 dudes and not getting the respect he deserves. I think he's going to kill it in Bellator.
Yeah.
I looked at the light heavyweight ranking or just the light heavyweight roster with Bellator yesterday preparing for this. Besides Bader, I probably should know some of those guys, but I don't. So he'll have a title shot soon, and I think he can beat Bader easily, probably.
Dude, I hope he runs through him over there, man.
I'm sure he will.
I really wanted to see him and John Jones, and it just didn't work out the way I wanted it to, or I'm sure the way he wanted it to. But I loved the Corey Anderson that came out after he knocked out Johnny Walker.
Mm-hmm.
Other than pushing the ref and stuff, that wasn't necessary. But, it's just that killer instinct that we seen in there. All those.
He made a lot of enemies there, too, though.
Yeah. He felt you could see all those years of disrespect that he's felt just come out. And I was like, wow. But,
and then his next fight to get knocked out fairly quickly. Was it Jan?
And that might have been some of that ego from that Johnny Walker fight, too.
Well, that's when you're top 5 in something like light heavyweight or heavyweight. The smallest mistake and you're asleep. So, that's just the cream of the crop. Things happen.
Yeah, so definitely look out for Corey Anderson over in Bellator. I'll be watching Bellator a little bit more now for the free fights. I'm not going to pay for a Bellator pay-per-view yet.
No.
They haven't persuaded me that much.
Are they still on DAZN?
Yeah, I believe so. I might check that out or something if there's like a free trial or something. But I definitely, Bellator's getting some good fighters. Cyborg, Corey Anderson's over there.
Mm-hmm.
They got Jack Swagger from WWE.
Their top athletes in each division are good, but they don't have any depth.
Yeah, you got some.
I don't want to be disrespectful to those, but
you got some entertaining guys. Dylan Dennis, which I feel like he calls somebody out every day, and he's only fought twice.
Well, he's been injured. He's a knee injury.
Yeah. So, but Bellator is gonna have to get a lot more depth before I start, paying for their product. Definitely. And let me check this one more time before we get into our last two topics. Doing good.
Money. Yeah, so sticking with Bellator, Michael Chandler is now a free agent. So he's a lightweight, right?
Yeah, he is. And
so even though he's a free agent, for me, lightweight is the UFC's best division. They don't need any more talent.
So you don't think they're going to pitch
especially
out that
for
money?
the type of money he's going to ask for, I assume. Why wouldn't he? I mean, he's the best talent Bellator has, right?
Yeah, they were probably giving him about $300,000 to show where he was that champion and stuff.
Yeah, I just he's probably going to be a bigger money guy in a division that they don't need bigger money. They already have 5 or 6 studs right there. They can't even get through title fights, without someone, Khabib, Conor,
but
Gaethje, Poirier. I mean, they got dudes.
At the same time, though, let's say Khabib's on his way out.
Yeah,
he has
Conor's
this
on
plan.
his way out.
Khabib is saying he has this plan to beat Gaethje, face GSP, and then retire. So if that plan goes through, then he's out. Tony Ferguson, we don't know what kind of Ferguson we're going to see next fight.
Yeah.
If he has a performance like he did against Gaethje, he could be on his way out. So, I mean, could possibly need some new blood. And I know Michael Chandler, I believe he's 34.
Yeah.
But, he's kind of in that prime. So
he's in it right now.
Yeah.
I think the reason that lightweight, the 155 and 170 and, those kind of weight classes are so deep in the UFC is I think a lot of men are just that weight. That's like a very average weight. And then,
it is. Yeah.
Especially for athletes, once they get into that kind of shape, that's those size guys. It's just a natural weight for them. So there's always going to be talent there.
Yeah.
If you're at 200, if you're in that kind of shape at 200 pounds, you're probably playing football or doing something like that, making real money, You're that level of an athlete and big enough. So, I mean, it sounds kind of crappy because it's like, you're a great athlete, but you're small. So here, fight.
Yeah. But yeah, I've been keeping up with him for a while before his knockout of Vincent Henderson. I've probably been following him on. I first found out about him. I ran across some workout videos on Instagram, and I first followed him just on Instagram as just like somebody to look towards for like workouts and stuff. And then I ended up figuring out like, oh, he's in Bellator.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, he's one of the top guys in Bellator.
He's their guy in Bellator.
Yeah, he is their guy. And then I was like, so I've been a fan of his for probably, 4 years or so now. And I've been wanting him in the UFC for a while. Probably the past 2 years I've been wanting him in the UFC. So yeah.
Bellator pays their guys more money, right?
I don't think so, man.
That's what it kind of seems. I don't know how they would, unless that DAZN contract is awesome.
Yeah, because when they break it down, what I've seen broke down, like the big time champions and stuff are making like $300,000. I'm like, I don't know what they're getting after that DAZN, but I'm like, dag, if you're a champion in UFC, you get $500,000.
They don't have a uniform like UFC has Reebok.
Yeah,
so I guess they're going to make a ton of money off of selling sponsors on their shorts and stuff.
That is true.
I know that's one thing Shab was talking about. They used to make more money on that than the actual paycheck from the fight, and then which Reebok's getting out, right? Of UFC, but they replaced them with someone else.
Yeah,
so,
they replaced them. Dana said it was down to these 3, and it was Nike and Under Armour, and then some brand I've never heard of, and they ended up going with the brand that I've never heard of. I wanted it to be Nike so bad.
Nike doesn't.
But it was like that fighting brand that I've never heard of, which hopefully they make good gear. I mean, I bought a couple of UFC shirts off their website, and I mean they're made pretty. They're nicely made. It ain't just
they're expensive too.
Yeah, they're expensive. Now that is true. But they're not just made like a rough kind of like guiding T-shirt with a logo on it or anything, But yeah, they are expensive.
Well,
I'd definitely like to see them go down on the price a little bit. But
Nike and Under Armour have so many other sports they do that they make tons of money off of, and so maybe the fighting company was willing to pay more. That's their bread and butter, and they can make a lot more profit off of it probably. I mean, Nike even has really rolled back their golf. Yeah. I mean, they really only make like golf apparel.
Yeah.
At this point in shoes, they used to make clubs and balls and everything.
Yeah.
And then kind of when Tiger kind of got on the back end of his career, they backed out because they weren't making money off of it.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, it'll definitely be interesting to see what Michael Chandler has. He has stated that he, is looking at the UFC, he's looking at
he might even go to one.
Yeah, one championship, PFL. Mm-hmm. A lot of people act like that $1 million tournament interests a lot of people. But, I mean, I don't know. That PFL thing, I'm like, man.
That's really betting on yourself.
Yeah, you're betting on yourself. And I'm like, UFC, you get to be a pretty big name. You're making $300,000 every fight, mm-hmm. Just to show and stuff. You do 3 fights a year, you're going to make that $1 million anyways. So.
You're going to gross it. But once you pay coaches and agents and taxes and all that, you're not.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and get into the last part of the show today. We got pretty big pay-per-view coming up next weekend. UFC 252, Stipe Miocic versus Daniel Cormier. Now let's kind of get into our breakdown, and we'll start from the lower fights up, and we'll each give a prediction for each one of these fights. But yeah, really good pay-per-view coming up this weekend. So let's go ahead and dive into it. We got and forgive me if I don't pronounce this guy's name right.
I mean, there's 3 or 4 down here. I'm going to know.
Magomed versus I don't know, Qtabua. Now, I know this guy, his nickname's the Hulk.
Okay.
He screamed. I don't know if you've seen it, but he was facing Khalil Roundtree,
mm-hmm.
and you probably seen the highlight a couple of times when they faced off. He screamed all in his face, and
mm-hmm.
Khalil Roundtree backed up. But he ended up knocking out Khalil Roundtree.
Okay.
He's and then sometimes he paints himself green because he's the Hulk. That's his nickname.
I don't think I've seen him.
He's light heavyweight, so definitely. And I know, where you don't know, I don't know too much about the other guy, so this one's just my prediction on this is just purely based off, And I'm gonna go with that Kulaba. I'm gonna go with him, or Ian. We'll just call him that.
Yeah, so
I'm gonna go with the Hulk.
Whenever you have I guess since they're on the main card, it's not like they're new guys. They've probably been around.
Yeah.
But these lower, I don't even want to call it lower level, but guys before they become contenders, these fights tend to be more lopsided, I guess. And knowing that Hulk knocked out Khalil Roundtree, who's a real dude,
mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with him.
Yeah, and this is the second fight made between these guys. The first fight, I can't remember what happened, but they faced off and everything, and then the fight got cut short or something. It was something really weird. So this is the second time these guys are being booked against each other.
Was it that time that he tried to go over and fight him before they even?
Yeah, that was it. That was it. Yeah,
they were in the ring, and then they hadn't even, Bruce Buffer hadn't come out or anything.
Yeah.
He ran over and started trying to fight him.
Yeah. So I mean, that guy's kind of entertaining, but
yeah.
But yeah, definitely. So that's the main card opener. After that, we got John Dodson versus Merab Duval. Yeah.
Dodson just had a big win, right?
Yep.
Maybe even got injured or something during the fight and was able to grit it out. We're gonna just go with him. He's a guy and carry some momentum. He's a name we've seen fight before. And
dude, people forget, man. He made T.J. Dillashaw. He finished T.J. Dillashaw.
Yeah,
and this guy's still he's still a pretty big name at that bantamweight division, and I think he's still got a lot of fights left. He can even contend for a title anytime soon. So we got Sean O'Malley on here and John Dodson, and I'll kind of get into that a little bit more. But I wouldn't mind seeing Sean O'Malley if he beats Marlon Vera. Come and face
they need
John
to give
Dodson.
They need to give him a contender.
Give him somebody real. I mean, John Dodson's he has to be top 15 or right outside the top 15. So definitely that would be a fight I could see having. But yeah, we're going to go with John Dodson on that one.
I am too.
Now, this next one, this is one I'm very much looking forward to. We got Junior Dos Santos versus Rosenstruck. all this is going to be a battle.
See, like
somebody's getting knocked out.
Yeah. This is the whole coronavirus COVID time doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Because I was like, Rosenstruck just got knocked out by Ngannou.
Yeah, he's coming back too quick.
That was in May.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's 3 months.
He's coming back too quick. Yeah.
But though I'm saying, I felt like it was in July, but it was in May.
Yeah.
And like, where did all this time go? But no, it's been so. It was May, so now it is August. That's a normal turnaround, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I mean, he took one punch, so and from Ngannou, so it's not like he got ground and pounded and beat to death or something. So,
and I mean, JDS didn't get finished. He got TKO'd by Ngannou, but it was like in the third round or something. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I think it's going to go similar. I'm not saying JDS is going to finish him, but I'm saying JDS is the veteran. Mm-hmm. He's going to kind of show him that there's kind of levels to this right now. Now Rosenstruck is definitely. He's definitely good, but I think, JDS is going to show him how much of a veteran he is. And JDS is still good, man. He's still up there. In this heavyweight division where it's not that deep, these older veterans, they kind of loom around in that contender. They're a lot of these guys aren't too many fights away from a championship always. So.
Yeah, I think this is the first one I'm going to disagree with you on. I'm going to go with Rosenstruck.
Okay.
He's 10-1. His only loss is that knockout to Ngannou.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think the miles on JDS and then a new, young, talented, athletic, very strong Rosenstruck with something to prove is going to be good.
Hey, it could happen. Rosenstruck's got, he's got heavy hands.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he does.
He's one of those guys that's never out of a fight. We've seen what he did to Overeem. Overeem completely was about to beat him by unanimous decision, and
I'm gonna say he learned from that.
Yeah,
worked on them because we never saw what he learned after that fight because the Ngannou fight ended so quickly. But Ngannou is doing that to everybody.
Yeah, and definitely Ngannou, man.
I mean, he's the next champion.
It'll be nice.
Get through Stipe.
Yeah, it'll be nice to get Stipe and Daniel Cormier over with because Ngannou definitely deserves his chance to reign up there.
And Ngannou does not match well with either of those two guys. I mean, obviously Stipe's already beat him.
Oh, yeah. Cormier already said that he's not fighting Ngannou even if he wins,
Yeah.
He said that he's fighting Stipe because he matches up good with him. He said he's not scared of Francis. He would fight him, but no reason to fight some hungry guy like that right now at this stage of your career.
Cash them checks.
Yeah. But, yeah, so let's get into the co-main event. Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Vera. Sean O'Malley's been calling out Marlon Vera for a while. I don't know too much about Marlon Vera. Do you?
No.
Okay.
But I know the UFC's putting a rocket ship on Sean O'Malley, and I mean, and deservedly so. He's very talented, very good.
Now, Marlon Vera, he wouldn't be co-main event and nothing without O'Malley. So this is just strictly for O'Malley.
That personality like a Conor, like an Israel, that sells fights.
Yeah.
So you match that with the talent, and they put a rocket ship on him. He's going to the top. Now we'll just have to see whenever he gets there how he handles it.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going with Sean O'Malley in this one. Probably another kind of spicy finish that he's going to put on it or something like that.
Have to.
Yeah. So
that's the way to do it. That's how you make your money.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can dominate and win fights and be respectful and quiet, and you're going to win a lot of fights, but. Yeah. And you're going to make money over time, but if you want those big paychecks, you have to have some attitude about you.
So O'Malley's been calling him out for a while. This is what he wanted, so we'll see where he goes from here. But let's get into it next. This is the cream of the crop. This is the end of the line right here. Mm-hmm. This is for the legacy. This is nothing but legacy. I mean, this is everything. They're tied 1-1. Daniel Cormier and Stipe Miocic 3. Like the poster says, it ends here.
Yeah.
They could both retire. Well, DC's already saying he's retiring. Stipe could possibly retire after this. So it's really the end of the line right here. Mm-hmm. But don't get that confused. These two guys are still very elite. It's not like they're on their way out. And it's not no Tito Ortiz situation with Chuck Liddell. These are still very high-level fighters. And, yeah.
I mean, they're the two best heavyweights in the world right now, by far, to be honest. Obviously, they split 1 and 2. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't. It's going to be a great fight. DC's obviously good about watching film and picking out weak spots. That's how he won the first fight. He knew, hey, out of the clinch, Stipe doesn't, keep his hand up, so I'm going to hit him with this, dirty boxing and nailed him right on the chin. Stipe doesn't have that many holes, so I don't know if he's going to be able to find another one.
Yeah.
And if it goes to a grinding fight like 2 was, you have to think Stipe. Of course, they say DC, when he's at heavyweight in training camp, knocks people out. So it could go either way.
Yeah, my kind of take on it, I believe Daniel Cormier is overall the better fighter. I mean, he's won. So let's see, they've had, how many rounds have they had together? 5 rounds.
6. Well, I guess.
Okay.
Because was the first one the first or second round?
It's first.
Okay.
So they've had 5 rounds together because he got,
I guess if you take.
It was in the 4th last time.
So, yeah.
So 6
four total rounds.
Okay. And DC's won all but one of those, the one where he got knocked out. Yeah, because I don't think he was winning that round before he got TKO'd. But yeah, I don't know. But I feel like Daniel Cormier, like you said, I think he's going to go back and fix what he's done. I mean, he already proved he could outstrike Stipe. He out-wrestled him in that second fight. He was doing everything he needed to do. I mean, I remember sitting there at the bar watching it, and I was like, we're literally going to witness Daniel Cormier beating him twice. And then I was shocked when he started dropping his hands and, he let that ego get to him.
Well, man. It was Stipe grinding. He took the long game, just those brutal body shots, which take a lot of wind out of your sails. Just the culmination of all those. And, DC's not the best body type.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He looks like me.
No.
But, it's I don't know. I'm a big fan of both of them.
Yeah, you gotta respect Stipe, man. I mean, he still works as a firefighter and stuff. And you gotta respect that.
DC's beat everyone except for Stipe and John Jones. But still, I think Stipe's beat better quality guys. It hasn't been as many with the Overeems and the Verdums and the JDSs and those types of guys you talk about that are elite, been around forever, veteran. Very good guys in a division that has more dire consequences, slightly than light heavyweight. Yeah. I think I'm going with Stipe.
Okay.
In a like a decision 4th or 5th round TKO, kind of similar to number 2.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Daniel Cormier on this one. I don't know exactly. I don't know what to expect. I mean, he can get it done either way. But, I mean, I don't know. I'm just going to go with him. I'm just going to say he gets the win. And you might disagree with me on this statement, but where this is for legacy, I do believe if Daniel Cormier wins this and he goes out as heavyweight champion, I mean, really the only 2 guys I see up there is you're talking greatest of all time. If Daniel Cormier wins, DC and George St. Pierre. Now, I'll leave John Jones out because I know a lot of people like John Jones, but I just believe you can't be considered the great when you haven't fought cleanly. But, and we're not getting into John Jones, but.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough, but you definitely have to be like, oh, okay, well, if we're talking top 5 greatest, Daniel Cormier is definitely on there. I mean, I think he's already on there now, but definitely if he lost to Stipe, then that takes him
top
off
5 for sure.
But yeah, Daniel Cormier wins this and retires as champion on top of the world in that heavyweight division. I mean, you gotta think of him as one of the greatest of all time. In my eyes, it would be him and GSP, but
I'm not sure he's the best heavyweight of all time. I guess he did go undefeated in Strikeforce, and then
he just didn't
one loss in light heavyweight in the UFC, and then now at heavyweight only lost to Stipe, which Stipe. I guess he lost to JDS maybe early in his career, but he avenged that. Hadn't lost anyone else.
This is.
This could be the greatest heavyweights of all time.
Yeah, this is. I mean, I would very much recommend watching this fight if you're listening to the podcast because, I mean, there's animosity between these two. That first fight, it was respect. The second fight, still a little respect, but leaning towards more animosity. This time, it's full-on animosity. They do not like each other. Stipe has stated, Daniel Cormier, I poked him in both fights, which, I mean, he did. Now, whether it was on purpose or not, that's very – you'll have to watch the videos and kind of make that opinion yourself. But yeah, there's a lot of animosity, and
it's Pittsburgh Steelers, Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah,
they hate each other, but they know they're in for a battle.
Oh yeah,
and it's they hate each other, but they respect each other because they know they have to bring their lunch pail and button up tight and be right, or they're going to get embarrassed.
Yeah. Well, I guess that kind of wraps it up, guys. Thank you, Ethan, for coming on and co-hosting me today. Really good podcast today. Talked about a lot of great stuff. Yeah, guys, get out and watch UFC 252. Well, you really can't get out and watch it, but maybe consider getting some friends together and getting the pay-per-view. Definitely going to be some good ones to watch this upcoming weekend.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I'm always happy to come do it. It's always a good time.
Thanks for coming on, man. Thanks, everybody. Until next time.
You went over an hour, but